Hello, souls and demons, and welcome back to the show. Today's story is called The Twizzler Man, written by Leah of Alexandria. And with that, sit back, grip your seats, and enjoy the show. Do you know the story of the Candy Man? Yes, the same from the 1992 film based on a short story by Clive Barker. Candyman is a twisted amalgamation of classic myths and modern horror. The Candyman could be compared to the uber-classic Bloody Mary tale. But this guy has a hook and some strange relationships with bees. There is an interesting backstory to the Candyman that places him on his own shelf in the urban lore bookshelf. I'll let you research that for yourself if you're not already familiar. At its most basic, I can explain the tale like this. Say his name 5 times in front of a mirror, and you will die an incredibly fantastic death. Why would you invite your own demise? Because it's just a game, right? It plays on all of our childhood curiosities and fears. Say Bloody Mary 3 times into the mirror. No, you do it. We all know nothing will happen. So why won't you just say it then? So, we are all caught up on the Candyman. Have you then heard of the Twizzler Man? A more specific sugar-themed character. No, you haven't heard. Well then, please, sit back, relax, grab a bag of popcorn and your favorite sweet treat. Turn the lights off. At least dim them. 1975. America's bicentennial. This story revolves around Alfred Welsh. Alfred lived by himself in his family's farmhouse for his entire life. He grew up milking cows, mending fences, and preparing various livestock for consumption, to both commercial and individual sale. Alfred had several siblings helping with the various tasks around the farm. Throughout the years, they all found different callings. Alfred stayed. When both of his parents passed, one not too far from the other, the Welsh family farm was solely his. Most farming families had children just for the help. Alfred never found his way to this path. Awkward, tall, and skinny, and perpetually smelling like cow dung. It just didn't seem in the cards for him. Being a farmer is a noble job. They produce the food that feeds much of the country. This was before the Walmart-style farms that mechanically and methodically produce genetically enhanced animals that are now delivered to our door. Being a farmer didn't make him unappealing to women. He lived in a rural farmland where farming was what most of them did. No, Alfred was off. The word back then might have been a spaz or touched. He wasn't. Alfred was incredibly intelligent. He read every paper he could find, excelled in math and science in school, before having to focus more on his work at home. The stories that came out after were alarming. The neighbors complained of missing pets, and more than one claimed to see Alfred attempting to peep at the girls under the school's bleachers during Friday night football games. None of these confirmed, of course. By the year 1975, he was an adult, firmly handling the Welsh family farm estate. For years, the farm was staying above water. Impressive, being that he had no children of his own to help with the multiple chores needed to keep up daily production. There is no small job on a farm. It was here that he enlisted the help of a handful of town boys. Alfred made it known that the help was needed, and he'd even pay a meager wage if his friends in the community would oblige. Alfred was strange, sure, but he was not disliked at all. He was also known as kind of the town handyman, another byproduct of what might be known today as being on the spectrum. He had a mechanical mind that allowed him to fix anything from the school drinking fountain to one of his colleagues' heavy-duty John Deere tractors. It kept him calm. If you grew up in a rural area, especially the pre-internet era, you could imagine how valuable someone like Alfred would be. Calling an actual mechanic wouldn't only take time, but would hurt your wallet pretty bad. Alfred barely asked for a 25-cent bottle of Coca-Cola. Alfred kept busy between his farm work and his small town projects. He truly loved giving work to the town children. It was good experience for them, and it helped him mighty. Keeping the pens clean was just one crucial job that kept his farm working. He maintained this goodwill for quite a long time, until children started going missing. It was a story that rocked this small farming community. Police were perplexed. A small town force was not equipped to investigate over a dozen missing children. The necessary technology was not there to help. When one of the missing children turned up dead, massacred in a heinous fashion, it changed many lives. All that was found near the unfortunate 13-year-old child was one shoe and just 2 pieces of Twizzler candies. Current year, 2022, Anno Domini. Mr. Dark Knight, one of, if not the first YouTubers to feature mainly scary content. Real name unknown. He must have decided early that he would not reveal his identity, but was totally fine with revealing what he looked like. 2006 was a different world in YouTube terms. There really were no VTubers back then either way. Mr. DN, as he's known to most of his subscribers, started doing the now well-known countdown of scariest whatever. It could be top 9 scariest buildings, ghost sightings, abandoned psych wards, etc. He smartly moved to actually investigating some of these famous haunts right when the ghost hunter fever hit in around 2007. If you were around during this time, bless you, especially if you loved paranormal culture. Ghost hunting was seen as kind of lame, to put it plainly, on mainstream network television, even cable TV. Eventually, the paranormal community broke down the walls of Jericho, letting the powers that be know they wanted content of ghost sightings, creepy shadows, and EVPs, electronic voice phenomenon. Mr. DN was right there, bringing his team of ragtag friends to attempt to pierce the veil in such sites as the Clown Motel in Tonopah, Nevada, the Stanley Hotel in Colorado, and the defunct Sloss Furnace in Birmingham, Alabama. He even did a tour of some of Europe's most famous haunts, traversing some of the most interesting medieval settings in history. His channel exploded. Which brings us here. Mr. Dark Knight has teased his next investigation. He and his team will be traveling to the middle of the United States plains to see if this modern-day Twizzler Man legend is indeed fact or fiction. What's up, guys? Mr. DN here. Welcome, Dark Nation. We are here in the supposed town that the legendary Twizzler Man was born. A lot of you asked for this, and I have to say that I was completely unfamiliar with this one. Candyman, heard of. Bloody Mary, heard of. The birthday face guy, the April Fool's killer, I know. But this one was different. Apparently back in the mid-70s, there was an unfortunate rash of missing children in this rural farm town. A dozen children went missing, from what I could research. Some of them turned up, in the worst way imaginable. You all know me. I don't dive into the grotesque or gore aspects. You can find another content creator for that. You can also search this online for yourself. There were 3 children that were found deceased. Unceremonious is the word that comes to mind. The last victim was found with a couple Twizzler candies next to his corpse, hence the sick name of this urban legend. Not one arrest has ever been made. I was curious as to a basic history of Twizzlers. Seems like they are somewhat new, no? Well, apparently, Twizzlers were introduced in 1929, after World War I and before World War II. Hershey's produced them, in fact. Now, it's somewhat noteworthy that Dark Knight is filming this as part of his TV show. Some from the younger generation might see this as a step backward. Online media is clearly the king at this moment. Television is quickly being seen as the way of the dinosaur. But Mr. Dean is a little older than the average YouTuber. He's 1 year from becoming 40 years old, meaning that he still holds a special place in his heart for TV. Getting your own show on basic cable is an accomplishment. He's more than thrilled to be hosting his own 30-minute, highly edited show on one of the travel channels that host such paranormal bangers these days. The Dark Knight crew pulls up to the alleged Welsh farmhouse in a convoy of about 4 black Cadillac Escalade rentals. Not only were they slick and stylish, but they are also still a symbol of making it. And they have room for the crew and their modest cache of TV equipment. The scout crew had already set up at the farmhouse. Dean did not want to see the place ahead of time. He wanted a shot of him driving/walking up to the site of what may be one of America's lesser-known serial killers' abode. He made the right call. Yo! Dark Knight looks in stunned silence. What is this, some Freddy Krueger shit? One of his producers frowns, starting to remind him that he can't curse, but quickly thinks better of it. We can easily edit or censor that. Let the man continue with his genuine reaction. It's true. They burned this man's home, with him inside. Mr. Dean takes a moment to let this location wash over him. Here's a spot in the middle of miles of farmland. Nothing else would be notable about this piece of land, except that we are looking at the charred remains of a home attached to a legend that has never been introduced to the larger American audience. All Dean saw was the remains of a stone chimney and a perimeter of what used to be a home. A slab of old concrete made up the base, and a basement hatch could be made out on one of the sides of the house. Not sure if this was a fruit or meat cellar, or what it was meant for. It appeared the home itself did not have a basement. Okay guys, we're going to set up here and start taking a preliminary look at this area. Tonight, my team and I will be doing some sessions trying to summon the Twizzler man. I'll explain the ritual later. I just can't believe this place is actually real. How does no one know about this? Mr. Dean then goes into a little more history of the lore. Town historians estimate that between the years of 1975 and 1981, more than a dozen children had gone missing from the small town farming community. A lot of parents had gained suspicion of Alfred being the key suspect, as the children that had been loaned out as help had been the ones missing. The police could never make a connection to Alfred. One unnamed parent told the local paper that he thought it was weird that all Alfred ever asked for was a bottle of Coke and maybe a package of Twizzlers. When the Twizzler candy was found at the site of one of the last victims, the town was livid. Not waiting for the police to continue their investigation, which they already felt was lacking, they apparently marched to the Welsh residence with pitchforks and torches, a la Frankenstein, and burned the home down. Knowing or maybe not knowing that Alfred was inside. Again, this is all part of the legend. The house was burned down. That we know for a fact. And we know that now seeing it. Alfred was found burned to death inside. He never received a burial or an obituary. This has the feel of a small town keeping this story under wraps and just sweeping it under the proverbial rug. Chilling stuff. The night of the investigation, 2022. What's up, Dark Nation? It's your boy, Mr. Dark Knight again. I already gave you a quick history lesson on the Twizzler man. Now, did you know that almost 47 years later, people were still going missing again in the same town? I know. Can this get any more Nightmare on Elm Street? This time, though, it's not like he's going after the children of the parents that killed him. A strange game has surfaced by seemingly unrelated folks. Amateur ghost hunters and urban legend fans have grabbed hold of this new Twizzler Man challenge on Reddit and 4chan. They flock to this farm town to complete this game, some to their own demise. Mr. DN then puts the disclaimer that while some mysterious deaths have occurred by outsiders to this area, none have officially been confirmed as a result of playing this internet ritual. Here is the game. Travel to the site, or even the town where Alfred lived. For liability's sake, I will not be naming the actual town or state. Find a solid base, such as concrete or wood on the ground, and draw a door in chalk. Surround yourself in a protective barrier of salt. Bring 12 pieces of Twizzlers as an offering, or homage to the apparent victims. Repeat the following, by yourself or with a group, doesn't matter. Alfred, see me. Alfred, hear me. Alfred, tell me what happened. Say it 3 times. After the incantation is done, close your eyes. Keep them closed for at least 30 seconds. When you open them, count the candies. If there are less than you placed, you are successful and the Twizzler Man will be visiting you soon. To do what? No one has documented. If you have more, then we all know it might be too late. Mr. Dark Knight takes a moment with his crew, doing their pre-game ritual at every investigation. It's showtime. What's up, Dark Nation? It's the moment you have been waiting for. We are here at the supposed site of possibly one of the darkest, deadliest killers in our history. But is it true? We're gonna do the ritual tonight. Stay tuned, fam. DN's right-hand girl, Miss DN, chalks the ground where Alfred lived and died. She then pours the salt and places 12 Twizzler candies as carefully as if they contained anthrax. She nods to the host of the show, letting him know it is ready. Filming? He asks. A nod from the cameraman confirms they are. Okay, Dark Nation, we are ready. I will now step into the circle. Dark Knight takes a breath, slowly falls to his knees, and starts the chant. Alfred, see me. Alfred, hear me. Alfred, tell me what happened. The camera zooms mythically on Dark Knight's face. 30 seconds of eerie silence. Then he opens his eyes. He looks around, taking in the environment that doesn't seem to change. He looks to his producer, his partner, and his cameraman. I don't feel anything. Do you guys? The camera shakes a confirmational no. Wait, how many Twizzlers did you put down? He says. 12. Yeah, 12 like the ritual said. His partner quietly says. Mr. DN counts the Twizzlers, mouthing the number. After counting them once, an overly present look of fear overcomes him. He counts again. 1, 2, 3. There are 14 licorice pieces here. You said... No.